Okay, so get back to the second part of the week 5. So on the second part, we are talking about the view controller transition. So what is the view controller transition? So for now, how many type of transition did we use? The first one is modeling. What is the model? Model means you display something from the bottom to top, right? And then push. Why push? From from the side, right? And then remember when you want to do something in push, you need to embed it that one into the navigation controller, right? Else will be crash, right? And then so in this one we try to do the customization for the transition. We want to create some custom transition. Before we do that, let's take a look on this project. So we have just a project with two view controller, the first one and the second one. So if we click on let's go, it will uh, go to the second page, and if we click and go back, it will return to the first page. So you see here we have two segway. Okay, so the first segway from the let go button. So meaning if I tap on let go button, it will trigger this segway, and this is way smooth, too long. Okay, so the first segway I name it the first segway, and then this one I name it the second segway. So for the first segway, if you see here, the kind is what present modularly. Present modularly means from the bottom to top, right? I click on let go. You see here, it's from bottom to top, and same thing when you go back, it's like the opposite way. So if we want to change something else, how do we do that one? You see here, we have some excuse me, we have some transition here by now is set default. If we change something, for example, I select the partial curve. So actually ESCO only provide you 4 custom one for the predefined transition if you want to change that one. So the first one I would like to do the demo is the partial curve. So when you click on this one, like it's similar to like you open a page of your book, right? And the revert way, see, that's cool enough. But then what if you want to try something else? You want to create, you think that hey, you can create something more beautiful, and how do you do the custom transition, right? And then in this second part we will show you how to do that one, custom. I might not create the very beautiful one. I just show you how to do the custom one, and then it's up to you. You can think of some very cool transition and you implement that one. Okay. Later you can go back and try still the other thing. So by default, it's just like from the bottom to top. We want to create something custom. So what do we have here? We have two view controller. The first one and the second one. Second one nothing. It's just dismiss. When I click on dismiss, it will dismiss the view controller. And on the first view controller, okay. So we want to do the custom transition, right? So here in the prepare for segway. So when we start to tap on the let go button, right? It will trigger this one. It will trigger the prepare for segway, right? And then here we say that hey, I want to handle the transition. Don't do it. Let me do it, right? So here we will set. I only set the destination view controller here. You go to segway.destination, meaning the destination of that segway, meaning the second segway, right? I don't need to cache anything because I don't transfer any information there. Just okay. So you see here, you see the hint here is say you need to set the delegate and the custom model presentation style. Okay, so we say destination view controller, and then you need something called delegate, right? Transitioning delegate. Transitioning delegate. Okay, I need to use this one. What do we set? Cell. It will complain, right? But we fix this one later. The second one, destination view controller, and then we say the model transition model presentation style, and then this one go to custom, custom. Okay, what do we know? We need to set this one. Remember earlier we click on this one and we see it say this one, the present modelly, and it says something transition and the presentation, right? And then we go back here and say, hey, I want this, I set this one to be custom transition. So that's the two things you need to set for the custom transition. And of course, Esco will complain because you set to cell, and then you need something to handle, to you need to inherit from something that this one comes from. So if you click option on this one and then no help for me, okay, something UI view controller transition delegate, right? Then you know you need to inherit from this one. Let me copy this one. Let's go back to first view controller. So to do the custom animation, custom transition, I will create a class called myAnimator, and then this class will handle all the transition. Actually, I should not put it here. I should create another file, and then that file is the class of the myAnimator. But too lazy to put it there, easy for me to look up and down. So, but it's not a good practice. You should move that one to another file. Never mind. So I create a class called myAnimator with the subclass of the animator object. Two variables here. The first one is duration. So this is the duration, how long I want the transition to happening. Right. I want, for example, earlier you see the page to open. If you want that one to open very fast, I set that one to like 0.5 seconds. It open. Or you want to set that one to very slow, 2 seconds, it will slowly open. That's one. You can change it number. Never mind. But then I set this one to myAnimator, and earlier we have create a variable called animator, and then set this one to myAnimator. So here we need to do the extension of myAnimator. So earlier you remember this one, right? You say we need to the I don't set it to cell, but I set it to animator. Okay, I set it to animator here. So this class will handle all the transition. So I set it to animator, and then the myAnimator I need to inherit from UI view controller transition delegate. Very long one. Okay, so is you command and click on this one, it will show something you need to copy and paste. Actually that's optional. It's not required thing, but two things you need to set. The first one is for animation controller for presented, and then animation controller for dismiss, right? Just copy it for now. Go back to first view controller. Okay, so I paste here. The first one is start me to return something similar. The second one is also need to return something. I just return, what should we return? Cell. I don't know. Just return cell for now. Similar here, return cell. Okay. So when you will trigger this one, animation controller for presented, right? So when you click on let's go, right, and it show the second one. So this, the next view controller, the second view controller will be the one to be presented, right? The second view controller will be the one to be presented, and then the first view controller will be the one to be dismissed, right? Okay, and then when you click on go back, the revert way, right? This one will be dismissed, the second one will be dismissed, and the first one will be presented. Okay, so it may a little bit confusing, but okay, here so you say print, so it say presenting. Okay, and then on the second one you say print dismissing. Okay, and then here you set e presenting. You have a variable here called e presenting, so you want to capture that one is your view is being present or being dismissed. So we say e present. In this case it should be true, right? And then in this case it should be false. E presenting. Okay, but then this complaint here it say you cannot return cell, and then the my animator doesn't blah blah blah. It has something like cannot return the type of UI view controller animated transitioning, right? And then you need to add something here. UI view controller animate transitioning. Animated transitioning, this one. Very long one. But we do step by step and then we know that okay, so it's not complain at the cell anymore, but it start to complain another one right here. If you click on this one, you know that hey, you just inherit from this one, but you didn't implement any protocol from the UI view controller animated transitioning. And comment and click on that, and you go here, you see two required function. Okay, and you copy those two things. Go back here. Okay, so we have here this is two required function. So you remove the public one. Okay, so the first one is what? The transition duration. Oh, we have the duration before, right? Return duration in my animator, right? Say hey, I want this to happen for 1 second. Okay, and I return duration. Second one is animate transitioning. This is where you put all the code that you do the animation, right? So you will do from here. Let's remove some comment. Okay, so you want to do something here. Okay, so how do you do this one? And let's try to run and see if it actually do the presenting and then do the dismissing. I didn't do anything here, didn't do any customization. So I say I click let's go, and it's so let's go and it's presenting. And then what? Because I didn't do anything here earlier during the delegate, during the prepare for Segway, you say hey, let me handle that one. Right here you say hey, let me handle all the transitioning. You don't need to do anything, right? And then I say let me do that, but I didn't do anything here. That's why it say presenting, but then it didn't show anything. No second view controller. It should display the second view controller, but then at the moment you say hey, let me handle that one, then you need to manually control that one. It will not automatically show the second view controller for you, right? Then you need to do that one. And how do we do this? Okay, so let's see here we have something called transitioning context, right? So we have container view. Okay, so the container view is the one that hold the first view controller and the second view controller. Later you will add the thing on this container view, or you remove the thing from the container view. So it will be inside the transitioning context.container view. Okay, so we have something like this one. Okay, we have let from view controller, right? Transition meaning transition from one thing to another thing. So we had a from view controller. Same thing, we can able to get this one from the transitioning context dot a view controller, and then view controller for key. You see this one? It's very long name. Good luck. Remember that one. Okay, it's actually UI transition context view controller key. So you get the key, this key, and then that's one is the from view controller. So we had two key here, and then you got from. It's very short like that one. In Swift 2 it's even longer. Now it in Swift 3 cut and then just still like this one. and similar thing, we get the two view controller. You say to, okay, that's the preparation. You prepare the container view, you prepare the from view controller and the to view controller. Right. So in this case again, when you click this, click your go button. So which one it will be the from? This one, right? The first view controller will be the from, and the second view controller will be the to. And you will do some animation to display the second one. So what kind of animation we will do? UI view dot animate. Which one? Just use the easy one first, right? But I need the completion block. Okay, the duration, we had duration, right? And animation, try something here, animate, and then the completion block. We don't need to use this parameter, so just put underscore. So on the completion block, so this one means it's complete the transition. Then we should do something here. Okay, so what kind of animation we want to do? Try the easiest one. To view controller dot alpha is symbol, right? I set the dot view dot alpha equal to 0, meaning I set that one to be transparent, and then later I increase the alpha, and I add the two view controller into the where is it, container view dot add subview, and I add the two view controller here, right? So when we do the animation, so again, it's our responsibility to do the manual adding the view controller, adding the second view controller. So I added here, should say view. Okay, and what do we do here? We set still complex physics. What do we do? We say the two view controller dot view dot alpha equal to what? 1, right? We add that one, and then here one thing we need to check. We do the first one first, meaning we do the transition from the first view controller to the second view controller, meaning we need to check if the presenting, right? Meaning we present the second view controller, and we move the thing in L. And I mean dismissing later, we could write the code for dismiss later. We also can customize the transition when it's dismiss the second view controller. Okay, so for the first one, we animate, we just add alpha to 1, and then when it's complete, we need to say transition content dot complete. Okay, hey, I say, hey, I already complete the transition, so we say true here. Okay, right, so let's run and see. Okay, I click on let's go. You see, it changed the alpha from the the second view controller, and then it's to show. And if we go back, it say dismissing, but then what? Nothing happened. Why? Because we didn't put anything here. Right. This is where you should put the code to dismiss the second view. So at that moment, the second view will be the from view controller. When you're dismissing, the second view controller will become the from view controller, right? It's quite confused. Okay, so we do the dismiss. Same thing. We want to dismiss the from, then we do the same thing. UI view dot animate, and then with the completion block again. This one will be the duration, animation, and then the completion block here. Underscore, and then same thing here, transition and content, and then complete. Say I finished the transition, and then the code will be from view controller dot view dot alpha equal to what? 0. So by default it's only one. I don't need to manually set it to be one, right? By default it's only displayed there, meaning it's one already. So you don't need to manually, like earlier you need to manually set it to 0 and then you transition it to 1. But by default this is 1, so you don't need to. You can do that, but you don't need to. Okay, and then it's complete, and then I say, how do I remove that one from the sector, the container view? From view controller dot view dot remove from server view. Is it that one? Okay, so let's go. So you see the transition light, and then let's go back. You see, right? Again, let's go. So it's changing the alpha from 0 to 1 for the second view controller, and then when it go back, then this one will be the from, right? The second view controller now will be the from view controller. That's why you need to change the from. You don't touch the two view controller anymore. Right? And then you set this one alpha to 0, and after it complete, you need to remove. Okay, get it? Still confusing? Okay, later you go back and do it yourself, and then you understand, or to watch the video again and again and again. Okay, so that's how you do the custom transition, but it's not fun. Let's try something else more fun. Okay, so we have something else called the interactive transition. So what does it mean by interactive transition? So for example, if you notice the, let me open the, for example, the setting page from our phone, right? We had a setting page, something like this one, and then you notice here, you don't need to tap on back, but if you swipe, then you can also move the other thing, like it's moving like this, and you can, this is what the transition from the second view controller to first view controller, right? You dismiss the second view controller by swiping, meaning by interacting. You use your finger to interact with this one. You don't need to tap on. That will be easier for the user, because for example, if they just use one hand, and they don't need to move the hand to the back button, they can do the swiping, and you can dismiss that view controller. That's what we call the interactive transition, and then we learn how to do that one. Okay, we in this case we don't do the swipe, but we do the pinching. So pinching is what? Let me run the. This is the ones already completed, and then we see. Okay, let's go still similar to earlier, but the difference, you see some damping effect, because in the animation I put what I put is this one, the anime using spring with damping, and then I didn't set the alpha, but I set the scale. At first I set the scale to be very small, 0.0, like just 1%, and then later I zoom it in to be 100% scale to 1, right? That's why you see some it's from small to be bigger, and then it has some damping effect. It's like that one, right? You can try with different animation function we learned last week. I showed you the very basic one. Okay, and then go back to this one. Pinching. We said that we want to do some pinching, and we show the second view controller. So how do we do the pinch? Again, tap on option, right, to show two finger. Don't click on the let go. Okay, for example here, and when we start to move our finger, we see the second view controller, right? It appear, and then we let go, then second view controller show, right? Then how we close that one? Pinching down, I didn't write the code for that. Just go back now. Okay, so again, we pinching, we zoom in, And then what happens if like in some case like the user change their mind? Hey, I don't want to open the second view controller anymore. I want to go back. Then you zoom in and then let go, it disappear. Right. So that's in some case you like you swipe like you swipe like this, but then hey, I change my mind. I don't want to close this. So you move it back. So it still display back. Okay, so let's get back to our code. Okay, where will we? Okay, so we need to change this one to interactive transition. Now we need to add some more code here. So interactive transition, where is it? What do we need to add here? Say let is interactive, and then and we have another one called, the name is quite long, interactive transition, and the type UI percentage driven interactive transition. Very long one. Okay. So to be able to do the interactive transition, we need to check if this one is if the segue you want to trigger is interactive, and then we also need to update the percentage. Remember before when we do the pinching like this one, right? It's showing like it display the second view controller. It will become bigger and bigger. Then we need to somehow to control the percentage. Like this is how much percentage this we move. Did we finish 100%? If we see it's 100%, it doesn't move anymore, right? Or it's just like 10% or 20%. For some case, like if you say if less than 50%, then it don't show up. If people just move a little bit and don't show up, even if they release their finger, it's just dismiss it. Right? Then you need to control the percentage. How much percentage is only complete the transition. When you move to very bit, you want to finish the transition. Okay. So we need to have something called UI percent driven interactive transition. Okay, then echo complaint again. It say what is it? This one doesn't have the initializer, and then the no, actually UI, no, not let, this what should be var, and then because I might change this one later, and also var, not let. Okay, and remember earlier we have two segue, right? On the second segue, right? If we tap on the let go button, it will trigger the first segue. But if we do the how do we trigger the second segue, then we need to manually call this one. Right? If you see the second segue, it comes from the view controller to view controller, meaning we need to somehow manually call the perform segue with identifier. Remember that, right? Go back to this one. Okay, now we have something called UI percent driven interactive transition. Okay, and then here in the prepare for segue, we need to set the interact. We set anime dot is interactive. You go to segue identifier. Okay, so meaning if that one is the second segue, then we set that one to become interactive. Only second segue we set interactive. If the first segue, just do the manually when we tap on the let's go button. What else do we missing? Okay, then on the UI percent driven interaction transition. Okay, here go back to the transition. Which one? Not comment. we're looking for something called the transition, the interactive one. Interaction, is it interaction? No, it should be which one? Let me take a look. Interactive transition, then we set this one. It should be inside the UI view controller transitioning delegate. UI controller transitioning delegate. It should have something called interaction controller for presenting. Okay, so this one. So we copy this one because now we want to. It's optional because that's why Xcode doesn't complain anything. But then if you want to do the custom interactive transition, then you need to manually add it in. Then here you need to return something here. I don't know what should we do here. So this only trigger if this one is interactive, right? If only interactive, and then we trigger this one, and let's prove that it's run to here. Interactive transitioning, and here earlier we have one parameter called a interaction transition. Okay, so this is where you set the percentage of UI percent driven interaction transition. Here you update the percentage of the interactive transition, but in this one the gesture we use is what the binge gesture, right? We didn't do anything about that one, so go back here on the main storyboard. If you notice, I already add one binge gesture here, so I add the binge gesture onto the whole view controller. This is a binge gesture, so it's applied on the view, on the whole view. Okay, so we need to write the code for the binge gesture, so we have it here. Okay, so we want to do some pinching, right? And when it's pinch, you need to get like you need to know how much percent you did finish pinching. So for example, on your phone, how many times you think you can zoom in? Like you have very small picture here, and then you zoom in. So then how many times you think you can maximum you zoom before your finger go out of the screen? 3. Okay, so actually I put it 6 here. Like if I move my finger very close together, it's like really close. It's around 50 pixels between my two finger, and then I start to zoom in like this one, and then this my screen width is like 400 or something. This one 480, 500, and then I zoom like that one is like maximum. I just can able to zoom like 6 or 7 times. Right? You cannot put your two finger too close, right? Like 10 pixels or something. Impossible. Your finger has some width cannot like very close. Right? That's why if you start to zoom, you say from here you say like the scale you want, and if you zoom in, you come bigger. Maximum is around 6 or 7. It depends on. But if you zoom in this side, it may be bigger. But in this case, just try to zoom on the width of the screen. That's why I set the percentage here. So we able to get the scale, the scale of the gesture, and then how much we zoom, and then from that one we convert this one to be the percentage number. Okay, then we need to do some code here. So remember the state of the state. What the state? Begin. So the first one will be begin, right? As soon as you start pinching, it will be begin. And then what do you do on the begin? You will here is where you perform the segue. Perform segue with identifier. This one. Okay, here is when you start to pinching, you perform the segue, but you didn't display that second view controller. Don't do anything, just call that segue and write the identifier second segue, right? And then sender is self. That's what you send you trigger the second segue, and then when you start to move in, what is the stage? When you start to move your finger, what is the stage? Change, right? If sender dot state change. Okay, so here change, then you need to update the percentage, right? So you have something called animator dot interactive transition, and then you update the percentage for this one, and it has some function called here cancel, finish, pause. So a lot of things you can do with this animation, this transition. Boy say, hey, I don't want to do it anymore, let's cancel it. That's where later if you see you detect that user zoom in, then you can cancel this transition, then where you can use that. But now you don't want to do the cancel. What you want to do is update. So it has something here update, and then it has the percent complete. Right, so use the update function, and where the percentage? So here earlier you have the percent. So you have the percentage, so you update that one. Anything else? Let's try to run, see if this can display something. Okay, so option, and then we start to move. It's too fast. It's like suddenly zoom in. It's not like earlier we zoom slower, right? This is it zoom just run again. So it's like start to interact with it recognize that we are zooming transition to the second view controller, but the one is display. Is it running? A lot of Twitter here. Why is not running? There, I don't know what happened. Appeal again. Okay, so here when we start to move just a little bit, it's already update. It already show the second view controller because why? It's still running the code. It's still running the code here. It's presenting. So when it's presenting, it just quickly it trigger the alpha, and then after 1 second it trigger this one, right? If we want to do something else, we need to change the transition. We don't want to use this. We don't want to use this transition. And then how do we set the how do we set that one? Am I missing something? We this one using the damping effect. Let me check. So it's on the cancel. Let me try to change the animation. Go back to this one. Let's try the one that we do some damping here. Like earlier we see some zoom in, zoom out. Try that one. think it's misaligned somewhere. If and then L and then what is this for the L? Cannot align. I just want to copy the code as it do some zooming. Oh, why is start from there? Let me do the escalation mark here. And escalation mark here. Okay, so what I should do is I just get the one from all the code that we do the scale. Use scales meaning I don't want to change the alpha only, but want to do the scale. Earlier you see some when it's scale, it's zoom in bigger and then zoom in smaller, right? And then similar thing here, when we do the zoom in, it will apply this scale. And then it was like we zoom 50% and it use the scale to zoom like to 50%. And then this is the thing anime using spring with damping, right? And then let's forget about this one now. You don't need to use this. Okay, so here earlier in the completion block we only say, hey, it's always finish the transition is like it's always say the this one, the complete transition is true. But then in the interactive, so we may have some case that user want to cancel that zoom in and out, right? Cancel the transition. That's why we need to check this one. If if that one is interactive, and then if we have something here, it say transition will cancel, meaning the user change their mind, they cancel. I didn't write the code there. Later we will need to add the code here. If it ended and then user like, how do we detect that one? The velocity, right? If we check the velocity is negative, meaning user zoom in, then at that moment we will set that one to be cancelled. And then we will see it from here. Let's try to run this one first. So we just change the one, we set the alpha to the one we do the scale, right? So we do the option here, and then it's still too fast. Did we miss the duration somewhere? Let's run too fast. I try to make this one. Can we make it run small, slower? Okay, option again. It's still running so fast. I don't know. I missed somewhere the duration or something. It runs so fast. I may miss it somewhere. Right? It's something. Okay, we set the UI percentage interactive transition. Change. Wait a binge. Change, and then on pinch we update the percentage. No, it's earlier we set sit and it's still running. Go back to this one. Right. Here we set sit and it's still able to not this one. Go back. And then we do the option and then we zoom. it should move one by one, very slow. But on our second one, it's move really fast. Let me check this one later. Go to this one first. So here, when we when we want to cancel that one, you see here, if we check the state ended and then the velocity is larger than 0, meaning we say, hey, updated one finished. Meaning I say I finished the transition. Now, if the L mean the velocity less than 0, and then so let's put this one there. So if the velocity lesser than 0 mean user zoom in, then we can stop we can cancel the transition. Okay. So like we zoom. I don't know, this one is run too fast. I cannot stop there. I can check what I'm missing, but this one work. Okay, so see if we zoom like this and when we change mind, we go back. Right. If we going back like this one and then let's go, then it will dismiss. Right. So you see the code here. You have something called cancel, or if it can finish this one, you say finish, and then later in here again. Remember, if you need to say, hey, I only complete my transition, or hey, I didn't want to do the transition anymore. Let's cancel it. But then what happened when you cancel it? Earlier, when you start to pinching, it's already performed the segue. When it performed the segue, the second view controller already been allocated. So it's already allocated memory for the second view controller. Even you cancel it, but you need to somehow remove that one, right? That's why you see here we have something called a two view controller and remove from super view. This is already allocated memory, but it didn't show up. You just let it go. It didn't show up, but then it's still there. You need to manually remove that one. If you don't remove that one, so what happened? Let me try. For example, I don't remove the two view controller, and then we run. Right. So I zoom in, and then I cancel that one. Right. Let me zoom in. Okay, still normally, right? Let's go back. Right. And then what if I zoom in and then I cancel? Remember, I remove this line, meaning the two view controller is still there. And then at that moment, if you it didn't display here, but if you print out, it's the two view controller is still stay there, and then it will just add the thing on, and then it will eat up the memory. Right. It will like stack up the view. You need to manually remove that one if you cancel the transition. Right. Okay, later I will check where the bug here is. It runs so fast I cannot manually do it small by small. Okay, but